Hello, 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 people. Welcome to Chat Her Up. Today, we are going to kind of do a little quick conversation. It's a couple of things that's kind of hot out there in the social media world. And one of them is a couple of things that Funky Geneva has said. And he actually had two interesting things to say because he said something about Evelyn and Jackie's situation for basketball wise, and
Yeah,
he spent. But the
that part was funny.
controversy thing that he said was that he talked about Keke from Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I'll let you listen to just a little bit. You tell me if you can hear it.
I don't feel no ways tired. I
Yes, I can hear it.
always tired about any mental anguish that she experienced as a result of being on that show. And here is why. Because it's not like, oh, she was originally casted on the show and then all of this accidental stuff happened to her. No, 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 no. Your cousin was on that show minding her doggone business, doing her doggone thing. You wanted to be in the mix so bad that you were willing to even cross your cousin and go over there to the dark side. You went over there to the dark side, all right, and then you got to messing around over there, and they kicked your behind off the show after you were used and did your dirty work and your devilment. Then I guess the internet must have ate your behind alive and it became more than you can bear. I am sorry. I have a very hard time feeling bad for people with their self-induced issues. Oh God.
Yeah, he got deep. He said a lot more, but he got pretty deep. It was, even if you believe that kind of stuff, it's hard to hear because we are kind of taught as a people to kind of respect the dead. It's kind of, even if he felt that way, it felt like this is a too soon conversation.
Yeah, it was extremely too soon, and it sounds like his initial reaction, of course, is to the death, but it's to her uncle's message, where her uncle,
Oh, the first part, yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
the first part where the uncle said he
That's what
feels
he
like,
was reacting off of, really.
yes, saying that he felt like the show had a lot to do with it, the Scots had a lot to do with it, etc. And that's why Dineva, I'm assuming that's why he's now coming back saying it wasn't nobody's fault. But the way he said it, the funeral was Monday. To go in on somebody like that at this point, the same just a
Yeah.
couple days ago, he that is rude and disrespectful. I I was completely shocked.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say it like this, and I might get spanked for this one. Um, I mean, I agree with what he said. It was a too soon conversation, but it mean the and I know why he said it. He said it because that uncle literally insinuated that it was too much for Keke to bear. It was the uncle that is insinuating that something else was going on, like Keke took her life. Nobody else did, because the last story we heard, she fell asleep in her car, and then we was and they said that something was wrong with her car and she fell asleep. No, I wasn't. Nobody was thinking suicide. I don't think, because she had came home. Like,
Well,
I don't think initially. It
yeah.
wasn't until that uncle started blaming people, and specifically the show, and saying that he didn't want any of those people at her funeral. It felt accusatory. And you don't, you how are you accusing somebody of an accident? It didn't make sense. You don't
That's
accuse people of an accidental death.
Well, that's something else that he initially started with when he mentioned Keke in her car. He didn't really believe that, which it sounds like you don't either. He didn't really believe that somebody's really going to just go and sit in their car and fall asleep. But well, the video you sent in our chat earlier, Joy, with Keke in her car, and Keke said how she just likes to sit in the car sometime. Did you post that or did Montique?
I don't know if I posted it, but
Okay.
I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I shared it.
So it should not be a big surprise if it was an accident, and if it was her falling asleep in the car, because she herself said, and this was months ago, I believe, that she loved to just come sit in the car sometime. Yeah,
I
she
mean,
was
I
at
didn't
home.
find it strange. I have a my
Yeah,
cousin. That's a thing for her. She decompresses before she goes in the house. The
right.
average black person knows that that's a thing. It's mocked fun of on TikTok. Like that is a real thing.
Well,
She just happens to have a garage.
yeah, he didn't believe it though. You could definitely tell he just didn't believe that nobody would go sit in their car. Um, I understand that he is upset, and that's why he's trying to say, you know, I don't care. It was her fault. It was self-induced, et cetera, et cetera. But if in fact this was something
But
that
he wasn't talking about her death was self induced. He was saying that
her, yeah, her
if
issues,
this
her
is
life.
remember, this is not a conversation that he's saying to Keke. He's really saying it to the uncle. It's just I know it's I know y'all like and but he was saying it's self-induced, meaning she made a decision to come on this show. Nobody, it wasn't like she was originally cast, and that's literally what he said. And everybody and nobody really know what was going to happen with the show, and it kind of blew up. That just wasn't the case. It was a situation where your cousin was on this show. You knew she was on this show. You have even said that you were mad that she couldn't go on, so you went another route to get on. And it just so happened to be in opposition of your cousin, and that's what she was willing to do.
Wasn't she initially supposed to come on the show before Letitia, or no?
That's what allegedly
Okay.
all of the issues that they were talking about, it happened before there was even a Love and Marriage Huntsville show. It was before, because they wanted Keke, allegedly, that's the rumor, to be a part of the original cast. And it's because allegedly Marceau told um Melanie and them about her addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and
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 that's it.
that's what kicked off all of the issues. But
Right.
I have to say this: she had admitted that she was on morphine only for a year, which meant that she was using the year prior. Yeah, I have to say this: like, you may not like Marceau, maybe he didn't have no business telling Martell and Melanie, but he wasn't lying. She has been using since this show has been in existence.
Okay, we don't know that. But what we do
She
know,
herself said, nobody else.
she did not say she has been using that anytime
She
recently.
she said she was on morphine for a year.
So
When
morphine
somebody
helps with the
asks her,
pain.
they give it to you to get off of your drug.
Okay, so but you're saying that she was on
Not
drugs.
morphine. It's not morphine. Um,
You're saying you believe that she was on drugs. Something.
I mean, she's telling you that.
No, she's telling us that she's on something to help her get off of it.
They only
She was
give
not
you
a
that
she
to
was
get
not
you
an
off
active
of it.
user. She was not a current abuser of drugs. She's been
Okay.
talking about her
That's not
recovery
how it works,
for.
Callie. You Nobody at no time could just walk up to a clinic and say, get me off of
And did I
I,
insinuate?
I haven't used in years. Put me on whatever, not morphine, whatever that drug is. That's not how it works. You have to be a user to get it. That's how
Okay,
you stop.
okay. Whatever any of that is, we have to, in my opinion, if she said she
Methadone. That's
if
what it
she
is.
said she wasn't currently using anything, she wasn't currently using oxycodone or whatever the heck it is.
Mm-hmm.
um Another thing that Funky said, though, Funky said that she came on this show and started trashing her family, so that's another reason that nobody should feel sorry for the situation. And
I don't
what
think
what I
but she did come on there to trash her family. I mean, her first scene
okay.
was at Melanie's sleepover. Like, we don't have to really talk about this.
No,
I'm
we
just
don't have to
telling
talk
you.
about that part.
I'm just saying it's an uncomfortable conversation because, like you said, this girl was just buried on Monday. It's not a very. I don't feel. I
She
don't
didn't
get
come
happy
to
with.
attack. She
having
didn't
this
come to
conversation.
attack her family. It's not like out of the blue she came on there and just went right for them. She came on there, but we had already heard about her issues from Marsaw. So when he said
No,
she
you did
attacks,
not.
yes, we did, Joy. Yes, we did. We,
Marceau did not link that that girl had drugs.
oh my God.
She
Who
told us
did?
she did to Melody.
Marsaw brought it up.
No,
Marsaw,
he did
listen,
not. It was
Mar-
never on TV. It was
Joy,
only on TV because Keke brought
Mars,
him to it.
Joy, Marsaw said, him and Tiffany both, they said, whether it was on TV or not, they told Melody that. So they are the
Off
ones that
camera
trashed that.
before there was a show.
How did it make it to the show?
How,
You're saying only from Keke the one season she came on? No, they
the
had already been talking about
Keke,
her.
they had not.
They had, Joy.
Okay.
He is the reason that the
Not.
that Melody
Keke
and
brought that. Keke, when she finally filmed, if you go back and watch that episode, after they had the slumber party, the first time Tisha and Keke met was at a club or somewhere. They were outside of a club. And she was like, I asked you not to talk about me. You know, you said you was gonna do so and so. And she was basically, Keke was saying, this is my lick back because you told my business. And we didn't know what the business was.
okay,
It
so
was
stop
such a
right
big
there.
mystery. You and I both remember sitting back listening to Keke say, when y'all hear it, y'all gonna know. Marceau didn't give out that tea. We finally found out it was about drugs from her physical mouth. It was like a big mystery because
Joy,
nobody had leaked it.
Marcel leaked it to Melody and
Oh,
Martell.
you
Marcel leaked it to Melody and
that's
Martell.
not a leak.
Everything,
All of
everything
this
that
happened
happened.
before there was even a show. You're trying to act as if
Okay,
this is a TV
Joy,
show. It
everything
all
that
happened
happened,
before
listen,
the show.
everything that happened with Martell and Melody happened before the show as well. It still made it to the show. That has nothing to do with it. It
That's
still made it to the show. So whether we didn't see that part or not,
yeah, it made it to the
we
show
also
because
didn't see
Kiki started the
we
narrative.
okay, we
Kiki is the
no
first person
Kiki
to
did not
mention it
start the
as an
narrative.
issue. I don't know why you're trying to blame this on Marcel. It don't even make sense.
Okay, I'm not blaming her death on Marcel.
I
I'm
didn't
not.
say that. I'm talking about blaming the situation.
Okay, you're agreeing with me though. You know that they told Melody
Marcel
and
did
Hope,
not bring
right?
those rumors to this TV.
Okay, Joy.
Kiki did
Do,
100%.
Joy, are you aware? Because I think you are that Melody and Martell were told this secret from Marsaw.
Before there was a show, it has nothing to do with the
It
show.
Joy,
It
yes,
wasn't a
it
part of
does.
the show.
Just like we had, just like all that stuff happened with the Holtz before the show. They still talking about that
But
every season now.
Melanie,
Why would this be
but you
different?
act as if Marceau brought up nothing happened. This conversation was brought up for the first time. The first time any of
Okay,
us heard anything, regardless if it happened during filming or after filming or whatever. The first time we would hear anything about there was an issue or with Keke, it came from Keke's mouth. Even Melanie didn't tell that. Melanie didn't tell that. Martell didn't tell that. Keke did. Keke came on this show talking about somebody told her business.
okay. So we're not
Nobody knew what the business was for
Joy.
a whole little quarter.
Joy. We are not going to agree on that part. So I don't know that we need to stick to it. We can probably go on about that. But whether it's before the show or not, it was still brought up by Marsa and Tisha. And that
It
is just a fact.
wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't.
So it was.
Keke is the
So how do you feel
Keke
about
brought
Funky
that
Dineva
on.
even being, how do you feel about the fact that he's even coming on here doing that tonight, 2 days after she was buried? How do
That
you feel about
that
how
is
he
the
handled it?
issue. To me, that's the issue. It was
Okay.
very uncomfortable. I think it was uncouth that you just don't do that. You let, I mean, that girl ain't even warm. I mean, cold yet. I mean, like, that's, I don't even feel, I'm whispering so God don't hear me. But that's we are taught better than that. That's like low rent stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody with any kind of taught would do anything like that to somebody that was just buried, regardless of how you feel about Keke. That it's just a time period. It's about time. You let the dead rest for a little bit. This is a conversation that we could have had even months later because they're filming now.
Yeah, they are.
They didn't, I'm sure they didn't film her services or anything, but I'm sure you're gonna get cast reaction
Yeah,
about her death. It's going to be weaved in. It cannot not be weaved in.
right. Yeah, it
So
does.
she's technically on this season. She's in a credit somewhere.
Right. But I still don't think that he should have been saying she brought all this on herself. And I don't think that I will ever, because we know otherwise. She didn't bring this on herself. And when she was on the show, when he kept saying that she attacked them, she came on to destroy them. Every time they got into a big issue, it wasn't because of Tisha. It's because Marshawn was somewhere calling her a drug addict. Even at the barbecue, the last time we saw him on there, the minute after she threw that drink, the first thing he said was call the cops and have her drug tested. He threw all that stuff in her face over and over and over again.
I
So when
mean,
Funky says that she came on and attacked her family, it was always in a defense mode.
you're
So it wasn't
kidding.
even fair for
How
him
do
to
you
say
tell?
that.
How do you sit up with another woman telling about your
But I
cousin's husband
okay,
who is got to be the sexiest so and so in Huntsville because or let this show tell everybody want to sleep with Marceau, like everybody.
Latoya, I'm not trying to act like Kiki's an angel. We see her on the show as well. We know
I,
she's not
I
an
don't get it.
angel. You
I
what?
don't. I just don't get it. Like I, I just Kiki came on this show under the narrative that she's beefing with her cousin, and to kind of confirm that Marceau is the sexiest so and so in Huntsville. Because that was insane to me. Like the conversation, what's crazy is about that whole narrative. The one who allegedly told this rumor, the blogger that allegedly saw it, that really told it, is the same one that got Melanie and Keke in that mess.
You mean AL?
Yes, he's the same one. Check that out. So if you believe the dude is a liar and a schemer or anything like that, then you also have to believe that it's possible that all of that was made up about Marcel.
No, I don't have
Now
to believe.
imagine your cousin being involved with it.
All of what was made up by Marceau.
I said, if you believe it, because according all of this stuff that he was putting out between, because remember the screenshots that he was putting out, I don't know if that was last like fall maybe about Keke.
Marceau?
No, that blogger.
Okay. No, I don't remember those screenshots.
It was a mess. That was the whole thing, calling her a liar. When they
Okay.
fell out, that he had exposed all of Kiki's screenshots, and she was leaking information. That was really is what was going on.
Right. That she was leaking
Is that
information.
the trip in Texas that they took? Keke had leaked that information, and then was talking crazy about Melanie, and then allegedly called, told Melanie it was her mama that was doing it and not her. It was a whole bunch of lies. That's what really started that backwards and forward between Marceau and Keke last summer that I was tickled pink. Last fall I was tickled pink reading because Keke went toe to toe with him. Like sass met sass. You
Yeah.
know, but she held like they was basically joning on each other. They was
Yeah.
going backwards and forward, and it went on for hours, like
So
many hours.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
she's
was
sassy.
crazy.
She's sassy, just like
Yes, so
a lot of other people. But
yes,
I still don't believe any of the. Another thing I want to say before I forget. Here again, he says he doesn't like when people do things that is self-induced. Let's just say that she was using currently,
mm-hmm.
and she was struggling in some way to get out of it. If you are using, your mind is out of whack. You might even be a little depressed. You can't just get up and go fix the problem. You know what I mean? You can't just sit
Oh,
there.
I think that's the issue that we're getting at. That's why I was saying self-induced.
Yeah.
When he said self-induced, I think he was saying that she's he basically, the accusation is the stress of the show is what caused her demise. That was the accusation. So he was saying it was self-induced, meaning that she made a decision to come on this show. She could have made a decision to leave at any point. It's self-imposed. You do place yourself in situations that are more stressful. If you
Right.
knew your stuff wasn't clean, if you knew there was some issues there, why would you come on a reality show? Because
Same.
we're living in the age of, where people will find out your stuff in 2 days. That's just life. That, I mean, if you want to keep it a buck, all of that is the
Okay.
reason that's
Latoya,
what's happening with Atlanta is happening with Kenya. Because
Latoya, I'm sorry, Latoya's comment here. She also made a decision to be a user. She did not make that decision. She
say it
didn't
again.
make that decision. Latoya's comment said she also made a decision to be a user. And no, she did not make that decision. Her
Uh,
doctor made that when her
that's
what's
a
it
little
called?
trick. I wouldn't say it like that. I hear
Yeah,
what you're saying. I
yeah. I
hear
mean,
what you're
because
saying
she didn't
because
decide that.
ultimately we have control over ourselves when you just want to get clean and make a commitment to get clean. I hear what you're saying, but these prescription drugs are a little bit different. Keke wasn't going to the corner store getting crack. That wasn't her situation. She sat around recreationally using drugs. It's a lot of people that get wrapped up in this. I had an aunt, it took her almost 6 years to get off all those drugs.
Latoya,
It's really, really hard when they give you a pain for back pain,
right.
and somewhere you've been using it for 5 years, and then in the 6th year they find out that now it's too addictive. Now it's a problem. See, they didn't tell you that when you got it. They're just telling you, hey, this drug will take away that back pain or that knee pain or whatever. It's kind of tricky. Um, uh, my issue with Keke is I just don't think she was being honest about her recovery. But
Well,
it ain't really kind of sort of, it ain't no kind of sort of, it ain't my business for real,
right.
for real.
But
But I
it's
just don't
also
think
not
that she
Marcel's
was well.
business or
Huh?
Tisha's business. It's also not Marcel's business. It's not Tisha's business. Yet they continue to, especially Marcel, continue to kind of trash her every chance they get. Go and give her a drug test. Oh, she's still using. How do you know she's still losing, Tisha? I mean, look at her. She's
First
still
of all, that
using.
was a moment in time, and he had
Everything is
also,
a moment in
and
time,
Keke had also thrown water in his wife's face. Like
as she should
I
have.
mean, in the situation that's toxic. We can always say things terrible at the time. I mean, the girl had also sat up there with Melanie and basically said that he had a threesome, and it went from a threesome to he watched a twosome. The lie just kept moving. That they brought that crap on this TV show. Tisha didn't bring that on here. Tisha wasn't talking about her husband's rumors.
Oh, she was talking about them because they wouldn't stop. She
You're
definitely was
missing the
talking about
point.
the
You're
rumors because they
missing the
wouldn't
point.
stop.
She's
I'm not.
reacting to him, but she's not bringing that crap on this show. Everybody else has been trying to convince us that Marceau is the sexiest so and so in Huntsville.
Okay, first of all, we can stop saying that because that's far from true.
I mean, why everybody want to
Far
sleep
from
with him?
true.
That's what y'all. I mean, that's what the show tell us.
Um, Callie is biased. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't think I am anyway. Maybe y'all hear it, and maybe it does sound like I'm being biased. What the only thing I'm thinking is if she is on there for whatever the reason, with Dineva saying that she went there to attack them, she didn't go on there to attack them. I think I will always feel that way. That doesn't make me biased, in my opinion. Latoya, it doesn't make me biased at all because we know that no matter what she said at Melody's home at the little slumber party, we know that they had already been told the information before or after the camera. It doesn't matter. But when someone is that deep into it, it's just simply just not that easy to move on. It's just not. And so we don't really know what happened the day that she decided to take her own life. If she did, it doesn't really even, we don't even know that that's true. If we go with what the family says, which I think we should, no, she sits in her car a lot. She fell asleep. She died from the carbon monoxide, but not because she committed suicide. So to hear people say that, well, she committed it, she chose to do the drugs, she this, she that, if you are on drugs like that, it's not just I chose to be here. You know what I mean? She got addicted to opioids just like hundreds of thousands of other people do every
My,
single year.
my
Every
cousin
single year.
told me we gonna
So,
find
but that
out
doesn't mean
anyway.
that everything that happened on the show was her fault. And every chance Marcel could, he was throwing this stuff up in her face. So that can clearly get under somebody's skin. But that is not a reason for her to be blamed for everything that happened. You can't just walk away from that type of addiction. You need the help. And a lot of people have been making such a not a lot, but a lot of people have been making it. She was a drug user. So now what? Nothing we can do about she's a drug user. If you are family, this is how I feel. If you are family, first of all, you shouldn't be telling your family's business. So I agree with the uncle on that. But knowing that you, Melissa and Joe is another good example, knowing that you're going to be on a show that your relative is also on, shouldn't you in some way support her in some way so that y'all are not fighting back and forth? Shouldn't Tisha have said to Marsau, you got to chill out. She's still my cousin. You got to stop going at her. She's still my cousin. You got this. You guys just trying to keep him off of her. It's her family. It's supposed to be her family. And so I just think it's ridiculous for people to keep saying that this is all her fault. I really do. I think that's ridiculous. Did I lose you?
No, I'm listening. I heard you. I just totally disagree.
Yeah.
I, I, you can come on a show with relatives on. You don't even have to kiss they behind, but you don't have to
She could have protected her a little
purposely.
bit
You
more.
don't purposely sit up there and mention what your cousin has told you. Like her Kiki's very first scene. Now I don't know if that was her first day of filming, but that's the order in which they showed us. So I mean, so we have to assume because it was the first episode. So Melanie has the sleepover, and you mentioned that Tisha has told you that there has been infidelities in her marriage. Now, if we know the girl didn't watch the show, Melanie has been trying to paint Marceau also as a cheater. We know that. So that's who you sit up on. That's who you make a decision to sit up on national television and say something like that. Like she came on in a very aggressive against Marceau and Tisha. That was her very first.
Okay. So
There
why
was
would she
no
have
scene
done that?
before that. Wait a minute. And Tisha got over that because they actually were good after filming that season. And you come back
Tisha
over
ain't over it. Tisha ain't over it.
listen. I said after that season, that was not last season, season before last. When Keke came back for last season, because Keke was kind of like a friend of, she still is, but she had a bigger role the next season. The next season, Keke comes back, and again, although I don't think this was the first day of filming, but the because I think this was a fill-in scene because I think Tisha throwing that
Protect her from
water
what, Latoya?
water on I mean Keke throwing that water on tissue. I don't think that was film. I think that happened before that scene where Melanie and Keke sit down and basically Keke run down what happened and what she heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a scene with her and Melanie. They were outside somewhere. I believe that was what you call a callback scene. Sometimes they have you to do a scene to explain something that happened, and that could have been filmed literally after they filmed
Yeah,
all
it could have.
those episodes and they filled that in. I do kind of believe that, but I do have to go by what was shown. What was
So
shown on the first episode was her doing it again, sitting up there with Melanie, talking about Marceau allegedly involved in a threesome. It
okay.
was 2 seasons in a row where she started a narrative out of her mouth that Marceau was cheating. I understood why Tisha was always on the defense.
Okay.
And
So
I don't think it was filmed like that. I really do think that was a filler scene. So it's possible that that happened way later and a whole bunch of other stuff happened that they didn't show. I pay attention to stuff like that.
I don't think you do, and not too much, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. Latoya says Keke didn't protect Tisha. Protect Tisha from what? Nobody was attacking
I agree
Tisha
with
the
that. I
way.
agree with that.
Protect Tisha from
I
what?
agree with it. I
Okay,
think they had Melanie come at that same sleepover. If you wanted to film with Melanie, I'd have been like, your cousin is your cousin. You ride for your cousin. Like, girl, she ain't, I don't know. I ain't in it. I mean, even if you didn't want to lie, and if she really had said things, I would have been like, no, I ain't in that mess. You ain't getting me up in that. Nope, not today. Like, I wouldn't have participated in any kind of scene that was going to be received or seen as negative. Not, I
well,
mean,
I
and
don't know. The show
we
was
already
negative.
get it. If you think about it, Kiki's response to this when Tisha met up with her, which is really my point. Kiki flat out said this was her get back because of what she did when about, because that was the first time we heard about it. Her get back
It
was,
wasn't the first time we
he
heard
said,
about it.
because you told my business. That was the first time the audience heard of it. You
Okay,
can talk about what Melanie, I'm sure Melanie and Martell do a whole bunch of stuff that they ain't said on TV. The first time the audience heard anything about Keke having an issue about of that business happened with Keke telling that to Tisha.
so
You
when
keep
when
talking
Kiki
about
came
what
on the
it don't
show,
even
when
matter.
Kiki came on the show that very first time, if if what we have heard is true, are we surprised she came on upset because her family is trashing her? Or, I mean, really, if that's
If
true,
then
would
say
we be
that.
surprised?
Okay, then if that's what you said, then stand on it. Like
What
that,
you don't think she said that? That's why they always getting into it.
yeah, but that also makes her low down and dirty. That's the part
Yes,
that's not
we
connected.
agree. We
That's not
agree.
the part that's
Letitia
said.
is low down and dirty. Her
No,
and
it don't have
Marshawn
nothing to do with
for
Tisha.
the way
You
that they
so do
treated
you
her.
not hear that? That you're saying that because my cousin did something 4 or 5 years ago, because we're on season 8. This was season 7. And so this happened before they filmed in 2019.
Okay, you got to get over the before film stuff.
So no,
Half of
it
the
don't
things that
matter. So
happened were
you
before
so
film.
mad at your cousin whose house you've been hanging with and kicking it with in between, whatever. Come on the show to trash her, and you don't think that's low down and dirty?
Yeah, it is. But when you are trashing me to people on camera or not, I'm supposed to be low down and dirty. Come on now, Joy. Please. You want to just come on there and act like some angel, like they didn't do anything to her? They spread her personal business. I don't care what she said on the show because we already knew it. It had already been in the rumors. They continued to do it even after she was on the show. All they did was come at her. So of course Kiki's going to come on wanting to defend herself. I don't know why anybody in the world would be surprised by that. It still doesn't make every single thing that happened her fault. And I'm not even saying that they did something to her. I'm just stating the facts. Marcel was always throwing some kind of smart mouth result in the situation based on her and drugs, you know? And that can definitely take a toll on people. She came on, she was upset, and she did whatever she did. That's fine. But even when she wasn't doing nothing, you still got Marcel over here coming at her. And they are the ones that started all of it. That's simply a fact. So I understand why she did come on upset. Now, does any of that have anything to do with her death? Well, I don't think that we can really put that on another person. I don't think so. But I can definitely understand how when you are currently, that negative memory is currently, it's always being thrown in your face every doggone time he opens his mouth when you're around. I'd be upset too. So, whether it was on camera or not, she was defending herself.
Mm, okay. Oh, well, it is what it is. I totally disagree, but it is what it is. I wish her and her family well. Like I said, Funky Geneva was tripping. Let me also say this. Funky Geneva also was talking about on Basketball Wives. I don't know if y'all watch, but I was so tickled
Cause
watching
I'm a
this
hoe.
Monday
You
night.
know I'm a hoe.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, he was uh, on Basketball Wives. Evelyn then hired a PI because one of Jackie had shared with one of the new girls, Jackie Christie, had shared with one of the new girls that she had this that Doug Christie was her fourth husband. I didn't know that. And she had mentioned, the new girl had mentioned it to Evelyn and Jennifer. So Evelyn decides to hire a PI to investigate Jackie, and they end up finding out that I can't even that Jackie. I can't remember her last name. Whatever she said her last name, it's a whole bunch of different names that she read off, and that Jackie had been arrested in 1987 for prostitution. So Funky Dineva was like, if you grew up in that was the scam then. He was like, basically they were selling, and he said coochie. He said basically everybody was selling coochie and boosting. That's what girls was doing back then. And it kind of made me think about a straight up um, Gen X conversation, because there were always hot girls, what we call hot girls, and they did do different things in the 80s and the 90s than what you have hot girls doing today. Today, hot girls are what I call visual prostitutes, because they'll do anything for the gram. They use their body to make money. And that's fine if that's it is what it is. There was always an element of girl like that in the 80s and the 90s. I I I turned 16 in 1990. So, but I do remember like boosters. I do remember those kind of women. Like um and basically, people was doing strange things for change. But also kind of put this in perspective. I saw this on TikTok. In 1987, guess what the number one song was?
What?
Ain't nothing going on but the rent. And if y'all don't know the lyrics, he's like, you got to have a
Ain't, yeah.
J.O.B. If you
If you
want to
want to
be
be
with
with
me,
me,
ain't
okay,
nothing going on but the
okay.
rent. And it's
Hmm.
a funny song, but you know, it was always it was always a hot girl in all of our parts of in our cultures. It was just a lot more. It was done with a little bit more class, and so I don't think that Evelyn is getting the response that she thinks she would have gotten. She probably would have gotten back in 2012 when they or whenever it was when they kind of opened up LA. That probably would have been a big deal, but it's not a big deal now because it's almost 40 years ago. And don't nobody care because she been married to her husband for 29 years, and my thing is, aren't they? It, Evelyn don't think what she do is prostitution.
But that's what Funky done even told her or said about her.
I'm
Oh my
like,
goodness, he
I
can be
was
so
like, in the
rude.
very same episode, we watched Brooke get on her first date a Chanel bag. Now y'all know that was a down payment, like for
Woo,
real. Like I was
woo.
watching that episode, I was like, I wouldn't even like what dude brings a Chanel bag on a first date? I mean, I think I literally said, "Oh, he laying away the coochie." I think I literally said, like, on your first date, I wouldn't even accept nothing like that because I would think you trying to buy me.
Yeah.
That's not creepy to y'all.
It just kind of depends on who it is, but no, it's not that creepy to me anyway.
To gift you a Chanel bag on a first date,
What if you got the money?
I would be offended by that.
Maybe it was a knockoff.
I don't care if it was got from the gas station in a corner. I would be offended by. I mean, I guess your first dates in my head, you know, you get flowers, you get um a cute text back when you get home. I wouldn't want anything, but leftovers maybe. I would feel a way if a guy tried to offer me something expensive on a first date because I would feel like he's trying to buy me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would be offended by it, actually.
Well, some girls definitely would not be offended by it. You know.
They just lay away in the coochie. That's crazy. Like we don't. Whoo, these young
Yeah,
girls,
they're doing too much
like
entirely.
way too much, way too
Entirely.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a rumor on, it ain't even no rumor.
Thank you, Cheryl.
What
Okay,
Cheryl
Cheryl.
say?
She said Joy is the
Oh,
biased
Joy is
one.
the biased one. Who am I
Right.
biased against?
Okay, what I missed sounds like Joy's one.
Oh,
Okay.
what I missed? Sound like Joy lied again. What I lie about? They think it was live.
she,
Ain't
she
that the
she
mess?
know that she know what
Ain't
be
that the
happening.
mess? Just
She be
because you don't
right.
agree with me don't mean I'm lying. Girl, I
Uh,
believe everything come out my mouth. Everything. Oh, but there's
Y'all funny.
another little rumor about Portia. It ain't even no rumor about Portia, but Portia had posted this live and she kind of let it slip that they are kind of working behind the scenes for real to get Phaedra on
Mm-hmm.
Housewives of Atlanta this season.
Yeah.
I'd love for to see them play. They were fun TV. Um, they were
Uh,
funny. I miss that with reality TV. Y'all
yeah.
notice that reality TV is gotten so heavy. Don't nobody kiki and have fun. That's how you know that they're not real friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody kiki. I'm not watching one franchise in any way where they just sit around and actually they got better chemistry on Basketball Wives than they do on the Housewives.
Well,
Because
okay.
Jennifer and what's her name were like real friends. They don't seem so automatic. So
Jennifer and Evelyn.
yeah,
Well, they haven't always been
no,
friends
they haven't always been friends, but
because
I
we
just think
remember
that was
those.
a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they were really, really good friends.
Have you noticed that Evelyn has gained quite a bit of weight? Did you notice?
Um,
Unless she got a BBL and it's I mean she's cute. She's still cute, but she's definitely a
I
lot
ain't really
heavier.
paid her no attention. Who I actually noticed gained a little weight was Jennifer.
Oh, did she? Has she? I don't remember.
Because Jennifer, and I've really just noticed it because I was watching something on Hulu
Uh-huh.
and went somewhere and came back. And you know how sometimes they'll pick the next show for you.
Yeah.
And they had Basketball Wives, and it was an old episode. And I was like, oh wow, they was tiny. It was when Royce was on it.
Yeah. A little
It was
bit.
the
Little
episode.
bitty Roy's.
She's supposed to be coming back next season.
I saw that somewhere, but I only saw it that one time, so I didn't forget. I forgot all about it. I don't know how true. I don't know about that. How
I
does
don't
she?
know.
I can't see her fitting in. Um, she's been gone so long. I mean, when she
Girl,
left,
they
I
gonna
think
eat her up. If
I
she in
know,
beef with somebody, they gonna eat her up. I don't
but
know
you
if they
know,
can talk about her son. They
oh,
may
they
not.
can't.
Oh,
They
you don't think
can't.
they'll be able to?
Um, they shouldn't even want to.
You know they are. She
They can't talk. I don't think they'll talk about. Although they did talk about Joy Michelle and her kid when her kid was left at home alone allegedly. Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. Mm.
yeah.
What else?
Well, I guess that's it, y'all. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let's just wish everybody in the
Yeah, pray for the uncle. Pray for
Keke and
Funky.
yeah, her family
Oh, let
and
me look
those
real
that
quick.
love. And I heard that Marcel and Tish and them went.
I heard that too.
Yeah, and I
Oh yeah.
only know that. Well, I kind of know they do because the same uncle came back and said they had the nerve to come up in there.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway, so he and
I
that's
think that is
crazy.
so foul,
I think that is so childish of the uncle. And I know that there are,
Joy.
stages of grief. He needs to stay out of that. Like for real, like all BS
Oh my
aside,
God, he said stay
you
out of
I don't
it.
like we could talk about who at fault and who not at fault. Like all BS aside, do you think take away all the noise that Tisha and Keke loved each other?
I can't speak on if they loved each other or not. I can't speak on that at all because it didn't seem like it. So
Well, it definitely didn't seem like I know what you're saying, but
yeah,
I tend to think that the cousin that you grew up with, that you were the closest with, and you have a falling out that y'all gonna find y'all way back to each other. It
Well,
might not be, it may not be, anytime soon, or but I tend to think you find your way back to people that you're not talking to.
it depends on why we're not talking. Heavily
I
depends on
mean,
that.
but they didn't steal her man or nothing. She's repeating stupid rumors. So I'm like, she didn't sleep with her man. I mean, that would be the only. It's just certain things. Everything is pretty much forgivable, but you don't sleep with my man. I could pretty much forgive everything.
Kiki said recently, and I've only seen this in other pages. What did she say? Oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought.
Kiki said something in another blog on another
Yeah,
page.
I'm trying to see if I.
She said something recently.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I totally forgot it.
Yeah, but
Oh, I hate when I do that.
I tend to think that you find your way back eventually, and I think
Yeah.
that the
Oh, that's
eventually.
what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go.
Tisha said that Kiki was dead to her. Didn't she? Did she say that? Yeah, she said that.
I keep hearing. I have heard that, but I don't remember her saying that.
So if you, I mean,
Did she say that at the reunion or something?
no, she was in an interview 2 weeks ago, and she said, I think it was with Dustin, that guy that does interviews now on Carlos's page. So she said it on there. Yeah, she said it on there. It's just all a mess. It's all a mess. But real talk though, Joy, if there was a family member, because I've heard you say you can definitely do without a family member. You can definitely walk away and not look back. I can too. But knowing that, would you still want that person to show up? Knowing that you were dead to them, would you want that person to be at your service?
I can't imagine. I this is just in my head. Um, it's just certain things I just think is beyond being petty, and I think death is one of them. Like, if God forbid you done said something crazy about somebody, and shortly after they died,
Yeah.
you would
Mm-hmm.
still pay that person. I would hope you wouldn't be in your feelings and stay there when somebody's deceased. I would give my condolences or whatever. That wasn't her friend, a passerby. That was her family. Her brother, Kiki's father, and Tisha's mother are brother and sister. I'm sure that they cross paths. They got a lot of cousins between them. Like, people are out there that love them both. Like, I wouldn't have stayed at home. If it was my cousin, they would have had to put me out. And I wouldn't have clowned or made a scene.
Okay. See,
But I wouldn't have not went to my actual cousin's funeral.
okay. Okay.
That wasn't a passerby. That wasn't a cousin that she didn't see. They
It's
were a part
whether
of
it's a
her.
cousin she saw or not, it's a cousin that was dead to her. So that's how upset she was about what everything that they had gone through. It was somebody she said was dead to her very recently. There's no way in the world, in my opinion, if you were that upset with somebody to the point where they made that comment after, years of fighting and rumors and lies, all of that aside, there's no way in the world that person should even want to come to the services. I just, there's no way. No way. And a lot of people agree with you, of course, still go. Absolutely not. That's why I don't really like funerals, because at these funerals you walk up in there and you see all kind of people that wasn't even around the family or wasn't even growing up, but
So
they had
that
quite.
is still so that still mean that you shouldn't go to somebody's service.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but it just doesn't make sense why you would want to go. It just makes no sense to me. You just
I think it would have been very disrespectful for her not to.
Joy.
I mean, I said it and
Yeah,
I stand on it.
I know, I
Just
know.
like Wanda had to be there. Like, who would stay away from their own brother's child's funeral?
The one that didn't like brother's child. The one that
That
trashed brother's
those
child all the
girl,
time.
I don't take that. I think death trumps, pettiness, and all of that stuff sounds petty to me in comparison to the seriousness of death. That he said, she
It
said, I said, it's embarrassing, humiliating. I get all of that. But when it all boils down, Keke died. There won't be another opportunity to pay your respects. There won't be another funeral. There won't be another day to say I'm sorry to her, even if it is in death.
okay, well, she
I
didn't
don't.
want to
I
say
think
she was
all of
sorry.
that trumps that. I don't.
She didn't want to do any of that. She didn't want to be bothered with her right now. And you, you just got to be how you are in your own feelings. I'm not even, really going against that. But to show up at the funeral, I hear what you're saying, but everything you said doesn't change the fact that she was still dead to her, and so
I mean, you can keep
shouldn't
saying
want to
that.
be there.
It still
It's
does. I think that it's
it's
far.
still a
I
fact
think
though.
death is serious enough to trump that. Like you can't. I'm not.
And
I'm
obviously
sitting
it
up here.
is.
It definitely is. I mean,
Yeah,
it ain't no. It's definitely is.
it's
I don't think
obvious.
anybody that is an adult would think different. You
Well,
can't. You
I
can't.
do.
I can't imagine adult thinking that me being mad at you because you done came on this reality show and embarrassed me, and something happens to you months later and you die, and as mad as you as I am, I wouldn't come to your funeral and pay you respect. I
You should have
wouldn't.
respected her when she was alive.
That's not reality.
Well,
Unfortunately, nobody knows when they're gonna die. That's
I
why you
know
should be
exactly.
constantly
That's
trying
an
to
excellent
make
point.
up with people.
That's an excellent
Nobody's
point, Joy.
arguing that. I'm telling you what
Nobody
happened.
knows when you're going to go. Nobody knows when you want to go. That's why you should be more careful with the things that you say and
Of
the
course.
trouble that you get in, et cetera. Because
Absolutely true. I don't
once
think,
that
again,
person's
I don't
time
think an adult
comes,
would disagree with you. The part that for whatever for you is not clicking is
it's clicking. That
is
it's clicking
once
that they shouldn't even want to
once
be there.
something does happen, you then just don't hide your head in the sand. You have to face it, and or
Okay,
you're that
she
the
faced
person
it.
who's living.
She faced it. We saw her post. She faced it. Keep posting. Don't show up. So she acknowledged it.
Girl, I couldn't be that petty.
What's petty is what you said. You
That
want me dead? I'm gone now. Okay. Oh,
first
you're
of
at the
all, don't
funeral,
nobody remember that. That's what the blogs are saying.
huh? Don't nobody
I
remember what
still,
it
nobody can
happened.
tell
But
us where she said it,
I
when she
Joy,
said it.
Joy.
People
I
are
just
just
told
writing it
you,
no,
Joy.
you
I
saw the
did.
video.
Yes,
No,
Joy.
you
It
didn't.
was 2 weeks
You
ago
need
when
to
she
get
was on the
saved.
interview with Dustin. That's what I said. Well, you say so nobody can. I've already done.
Okay,
Yes, it was on the
post it.
interview.
Post it.
Okay, I will. I will. And then what's happening after I post it?
Nothing. Even if she did, I still don't believe she. I mean, but
Okay, so
even if
then,
she did, it
and
really doesn't matter.
that's the honesty I appreciate. So I won't even bother with it. But when you say nobody's ever seen it, but yeah, we have, because it just happened. That's why it's fresh in so many people's minds. If you listen to that interview, so anyway, yeah, we're not ever gonna agree on that one. Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess we can go on and end this call, Honeywell. But Funky Geneva, he was talking all kind of tea on that call. I mean, he talked for a minute. It's so big that people then put it in a whole bunch of uh different TikToks because they real long. Uh
Mm-hmm.
'cause he talked about something else I can't remember. He started off talking about something else. I can't remember. But anyway, all right,
Yeah.
y'all. Peace out.
Peace.